Okay, so picking up where we left off, and again, I apologize for the technical issues that we encountered tonight. But I'm going to do the same thing that I had planned to do with you during class, and that is I'm going to go through what to me are some of the more difficult examples, and I'm going to post the solutions for all of the other examples. Now, let me also mention to you here, if you look at the posted notes and you feel like you need more explanation for any of the examples that I don't include in my videos here, you can always send me an email and let me know. And I'm happy to make additional videos and post those for you as well. All right. So picking up where we left off, we were talking about percent change. And the last part of this asks us to look at a difference in the percent change. All right. How much more did it decrease in price? So again, the first thing I did is I made sure I was looking at the right values. 2006 to 2013, and city C versus city E. So that's my purple here. So what I'm looking at here in terms of the percent change for each one of them, for city C, the percent change was 33.7%, and it was negative. So that was a decrease that we're talking about there. For city E, we've got a 20.5%. That one's negative as well. So again, with both of these, we're looking at a decrease in price. So what I'm going to do here, since they're both decrease, right, I'm just going to disregard their signs, and I'm going to compute a difference in those percentages. So 33.7% minus 20.5% gives me a difference, which is what I'm looking at here, of 13.2%. Now, the question here is not asking me for a difference in the percentages, but it's asking me for a difference in the amount of money. How much more did a $400,000 house decrease in price? So all I've got to do from here is apply that 13.2%, which is the difference in percentages, to a $400,000 house. And when I compute that, I get a price, right, a monetary value here of $52,800. So again, the key thing to note about this type of problem, it's not a real strategy in terms of how you solve it. It's read it carefully, make sure you're looking at the proper values, the right city, the right time period, and then just be careful about, are you looking at what the percentage is, or are you looking at a change in the percentage from one time to another? All right. The next two examples in the notes, these are just more basic comparisons. So again, look at what happens for each one, make the comparison, and you should be able to answer the question from that. All right. So those should be pretty straightforward, and I'll post the solutions for you. The next one that I wanted to look at with you is the income tax problem. And this is probably the one that gives people the most trouble in section 1.3, because you have to set up an equation and use that equation to solve. All right, so what we have here is a table that looks at adjusted gross income, all right, in ranges, and the amount of taxes, or really the way the tax is calculated. All right, so what you're going to do for these is you're going to look at the amount of taxes that were paid. All right, in this case, we've got $13,378.50, and you're going to figure out where they would fall in terms of the amount of taxes. So you're going to do that by looking at the base that they would pay. So if they paid $13,378.50, they can't be any one of these three, because notice the base rate here, is over $26,000. That's too much. So find the one that's just below it, and that's going to tell you how their taxes were calculated. All right. So for this family, their taxes were calculated by taking $9,362.50. That was like their base rate, plus 25%. Notice I converted that to a decimal. The amount, now I don't know that. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So I'm just going to call that A. That was over $68,000. All right, I'm subtracting $68,000 because I'm trying to figure out what their income was to begin with. So again, all you're going to do here is figure out which bracket they're in, include the base rate plus the percentage, and you're going to do A minus the amount over, and that will equal the amount of taxes that are paid, which in this case is $13,378.50. Now, to answer the question here, which is what is their adjusted gross income, you've got to solve this equation for A. All right, the steps that you're going to use to do that, first thing you're going to do is subtract the base rate from each side. Right? So that's going to get rid of it here. You'll be left with 0.25 times the amount minus 68,000. And then if I calculate that on the other side, 13,378.5 minus 9,362.5, then I'm looking at 4,016. All right. Now, we talked about this in one of our earlier problems. When something is being multiplied, which that 0.25 is, the way we get rid of it is we divide both sides by that value. All right. And again, what's going to happen, it'll go away here. We'll be left with A minus 68,000. And on the other side, if I divide 4,016 by 0.25, I get a value of 16,064. And the last thing I need to do to solve for A, you always do the opposite operation. So since 68,000 is being subtracted, I'm going to add that to both sides. All right, it'll go away here. I'll be left with just A, which is what I was looking for. And on the other side, I'm going to have their adjusted gross income at $84,064.